The January 19th, 2023 meeting of the Social Circle Board of Education is called to order. First item on our agenda is prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd like to ask all who would like, please stand with us as we pray the Lord's Prayer together. Please stand with the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of our agenda. Dr. Brewer, are there any changes?
The only changes would include on the printed agendas that people received. It indicates that it's our January 12th meeting, and as you know, we had it scheduled for that date and then needed to reschedule due to
Right. Have a motion to accept the agenda as presented. So moved. Have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say aye. Agenda is approved unanimously. Next, we have approval of minutes. You will see the December board meeting minutes before you. A motion to accept the December board meetings. Have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. The December board meeting minutes are approved. Next, we have board comments. And first, I'd like to apologize we had to reschedule, but I'm sure you know that last Thursday we had significant weather in the area. And we thought it better be safe than sorry. So we certainly appreciate you taking time out of your busy evening to be with us today. And we do have a break built into our agendas. And so we ask that you stay at least to the break so that we can have all our students especially properly recognized before anyone departs. After that, all bets are off. If you need to go, we understand. We hope you stay for the business part of the meeting, but you don't have to. We're not tracking the end. But the other things I want to mention, one is that the city and the school system here in Social Circle have a pretty unique and special relationship. We get along very well. In fact, before almost every school board meeting, the chairman and superintendent meet with the mayor and the city manager to talk about joint issues. And to further that, we tend to have an annual event that's coming up next week. It's Friday night and Saturday. We'll be spending a joint retreat with the city government of Social Circle. I just want you to know that as citizens of our community. That we do that, and we stay in touch constantly and have a great working relationship. The other thing I want to remind you of is that our board meetings are videoed, as you can probably tell by the camera here between us. And those videos are posted on the school website. You go to the school website and look under the governance tab, and you can find videos of past meetings. And this meeting, for example, will be posted by the end of the day at the latest on Monday of the week after the school board meeting. So on Monday evenings or Tuesdays or later, want to see your student recognized again, you can watch the video. But I just wanted to make everyone aware that they are available to you, and they're all recorded. And that's it for my comments. And so next, we'll move to the superintendent's report, and I'll turn that over to Dr. Brewer.
Thank you. Post for you is an update, the total enrollment in our schools. Since last month, the total enrollment in the district has increased by 13 students. Our primary school increased by 5 students, elementary school increased by 2, middle school by 4 students, and the high school increased by 2 students. Next, we have some program updates that we'd like to share. So I'd like to invite Mr. Aaron Robinson, who is our CTAE director, as well as our assessment director here for the school district.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Brewer. I'm here today to provide a brief update from our CTA department, highlight the upcoming CTA month in February. Our department is currently made up of 10 staff members, currently serving over 500 high school students in our 6 CTA pathways. Our CTA students graduate with the goal of being able to transition seamlessly into a career path that best suits their individual needs, be that directly into the workforce, technical school, traditional university, military service, or a combination that allows our students to grow and prosper in their chosen career. To update you on just a few highlights thus far, our students have participated in numerous opportunities to visit local business and industry, gain insights from experts serving as guest speakers in various classrooms, hosted community events, including our very special Santa's Workshop run by our early childhood education students. And our largest event this far at the high school was the Career and College Expo this past November, where over 80 vendors from local business and industry, along with post-secondary colleges, set up in the high school gym and promoted their fields and answered student questions. Students in grades 8 through 12 attended, learning ever more about the opportunities before them. I'd be remiss if I did not also point out how fortunate we are as a district to have the dedicated support of local industries and other community partners assisting our educational pursuits here in Social Circle. Of note, Standard Ridge Color Beam continues to provide support of our career events, opportunities for training, careers through work-based learning, and even taking the lead hosting a recent collaboration event among local business leaders and educators from this area this past December. For that and more, we do thank the folks at Standard Ridge for their ongoing support. As we move forward this school year, we're looking forward to celebrating CTA month in February. Our career tech student organizations have much planned, and we look forward to sharing those opportunities in the weeks ahead. Thank you, Social Circle City Schools Board of Education, for your continued support of our CTA programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson, for your leadership in this important area and making sure that we're providing lots of opportunities for our kids to learn about careers and to explore their options, whether they are headed to post-secondary school or whether they're heading straight into the military or heading straight to work. We appreciate your leadership and your presence here is making a difference for us. Thank you. Next, I would like to ask Ms. Elisa Wolliver, who is our Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction, as well as we're going to have presentations from Jessie Moon and Nikki Sullivan, and they're here to explain several of the important programs that really help our students to be great and ready for careers. And in education, we have a real problem with using lots of acronyms, so we wanted to make sure that you were clear on what these programs are when we say things like SEL, BIS, and NTSS. So, Ms. Wolver, thank you so much for being here to clarify some of that alphabet soup that we use way too often.
My pleasure. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Brewer. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update of the district's NTSS, PBIS, and SEL frameworks and processes. The mission statement of the Social Circle City Schools states to empower students with an excellent and equitable education. Achieving this goal and impacting student learning requires that we match instruction to students' individual needs. This framework we will highlight tonight aligns specifically with the district's strategic plan and the goal areas of student achievement, readiness, engagement, and safety and culture of well-being. So what is MTSS? It's a multi-tiered system of supports and a systematic, continuous improvement framework in which we use data-based problem solving and decision-making as are practiced across all areas of the educational system to support students. So if you look at this puzzle pieces, there are several pieces that go into this. The first is the access to high quality and research-based classroom instruction for all of our students. We differentiate it to meet the needs of each student. The academic and behavioral screenings for all students identify those students who might need just some additional support. And then we monitor what's happening. When we use these interventions, is what we call them, the support, we monitor to see if it's making a difference. Do we need to increase that support? Do we need to change the support? And the overall goal is to make a difference in the students' outcomes in the classroom. The MTSS framework begins with the assumption that instructional deficits are the primary cause of academic or behavioral difficulties, rather than beginning with the assumption that a student is disabled in some way. So this is a framework, much like an umbrella, that encompasses lots of different things, both instructionally and behaviorally. PBIS, RTI, student support team, student mental health, wraparound services, our gifted program, dyslexia, special education, all fall under this umbrella of MTSS. It's delivered in ways of preventing through interventions that vary in intensity based upon the individual student's needs. So now at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Nikki Sullivan, who's our district PBIS coordinator.
So what is PBIS? It stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, and it's a research-based framework that is founded on a positive, proactive approach to discipline. This is a national framework that was adopted by the state of Georgia in 2008, and then we began our journey as Social Circle City Schools, becoming a PBIS district in 2014-2015 school year, and I was actually part of that original team. So we attended an initial training, we learned about what PBIS is, why it's beneficial for our students, and really why we need to look at the whole child when we're teaching our students. Their emotional needs, their behavioral needs, and their academic needs are all very important in our classrooms. So after we decided to become a PBIS district, we all attended a training together with a team from each school. We developed acronyms for each school. So at the primary school, they are STARS. At the elementary school, we are CHAMPS. In middle school, we have POWER. And at the high school, it's CRL. And those acronyms just help us to have very common language, common expectations at each school. Safety, take responsibility, have a positive attitude, and show respect is what STAR stands for. And our primary students can sing that for all of you, and they're very proud of that. So really the basis of this is just the fact that we want our students to understand our behavior expectations. You don't know what you don't know. And oftentimes, especially when they come into our classrooms, if we don't have this framework and we don't understand that we've got to teach everyone first, much like we do with academics, that there may be lagging skills, there may be a misunderstanding. They may do things at home that aren't necessarily socially acceptable at school. And until we have those conversations and really talk to them about what's expected, we don't want to punish them for not understanding our expectations. Our expectations are taught and retaught to all students through role-playing, morning meetings. We have PBIS and SEL lessons. And then in our middle and high school, we also have advisement sessions. So they're talking to our students not just about behavior, but about how to organize, how to set goals for themselves, and really just to take charge of their choices to become better citizens, which is our ultimate goal with education. So when we're thinking about this as far as Tier 1 instruction academically and behaviorally, much like we expect all of the students in our classrooms to get top-tier instruction on our Georgia Standards of Excellence for academics, we expect the same with behavior too. So we give that to all students and then provide additional support to those students that need a little bit more, who may need some reminders or extra interventions to truly understand what's expected of them. So why PBIS? When implemented with fidelity, PBIS can lead to an increase in academic achievement and attendance. Our kids have positive relationships, they feel safe in the school environment, they have great peer relationships, and they want to come to school. They feel successful, and they're ready to be in the classroom. We also will see a reduction in bullying but because we're developing classroom communities and school communities, again, where those students feel safe and supported. Much like the lens of academics, if students are unable to meet our expectations academically, we teach them. So if they can't meet our expectations behaviorally, we must teach them as well instead of going immediately to punish. As a system, we've seen a decrease in office referrals and suspensions. Absolutely, we still have consequences, but we want to make sure that we're reteaching those behaviors, that we're having those difficult conversations, that we're pulling the students in to let them know our expectations and giving them the tools that they need to be successful. We'll also see a decrease in racial inequities as we're teaching each individual student, thinking about what they need. And then lastly, our teacher-student relationships, our staff's overall well-being, and the overall culture and climate of the schools improve. And I do want to share with you one story about my why. So my favorite part of PBIS, of course, I love all of the positivity, the relationships, the celebrations are really exciting to me too. But being an interventionist and meeting with the students that need just a little bit more support, setting goals with them. We have an intervention that we call check-in, check-out, where we sit with the student, we make goals, what do they need to work on, what can we do to help them. We meet in the morning and in the afternoon, we go over together, and it's really just an additional tool with increased feedback to help them to be able to attend behavior celebrations with the rest of their peers. So last year I had a student who I absolutely adored, and he had some challenges, and a lot of his was just impulsivity. He knew what he needed to do. He was very aware of that, but there were times when he would get overstimulated or excited or upset about something, and that split-second decision would cause him to have to visit the office, get a negative dojo point, and so he wasn't able to attend some of our behavior celebrations. So we worked together all year, and we have really amazing weeks, like 100% amazing choices, and then some days I would go to pick him up, and we would have bad news. We wouldn't quite hit our goal, he would be defeated. And the one thing about this approach is that we cannot control students' split-second decisions, just like we can't control adults' split-second decisions either. But in this case, we continued to work, we revisit our goals, we use that relationship and that mentoring piece with him. And he was able to attend our final behavior celebration, which was a water day. Our fire department came and sprayed water over the field, and the students just ran in and out of it and had the absolute best time. I made sure to clear my schedule so that I could be outside with him, and he ran up to me completely soaking wet and covered in grass and gave me the biggest hug, and I did not mind one bit. I took his picture, I sent it to his mom, I sent it to my husband and Miss Moon, everybody I could think of, just because those victories, it's what keeps us going. That really is our why. And then, of course, at our end of the year award celebration, he was recognized for AB Honor Roll. And I had talked to his mom through dojo, but never seen her in person. And he ran to me to show me his certificate, and his mom came up and gave me the biggest hug. And again, it's just knowing that we can really give those students the tools that they need to be successful is why a program like this really works. And I hand it over to Ms. Moon.
Okay, guys, so let's talk about some social emotional learning. We often call this SEL. SEL is categorized into 5 different areas. You've got self-awareness. How do I feel? Do I know what triggers myself? And then you've got social awareness, being aware of what emotions other people are having. The third one, self-management. Am I reacting appropriately? Relationship skills. Being able to keep those relationships are so important. And then the 5th area, responsible decision making. Stepping back, is this a good choice? Should I make this choice? So SEL skills like thinking critically, problem solving, communication, and being a team player are essential for successful learning from pre-K to 12 and into adulthood. These are the skills that future employers are looking for. Academics may get you the job, but the SEL skills are what are going to keep you the job. In the last couple of years, there's been a rise in adverse childhood experiences, or what we call ACEs, due to much trauma that our children are experiencing. For these reasons, it is imperative that we are proactive and explicitly teaching SEL so that we can give our students the tools to be resilient in life and be able to handle whatever comes their way. So what does SEL look like in the circle? SEL looks like, so the first thing that we do, we teach the zones of regulation. The zones of regulation teach students how to regulate their emotions. Now, it doesn't only teach students, but it also teaches adults how to regulate our emotions. We are the weather in the classroom, and if we are not calm, cool, and collective, then our students are not going to be that way. So what we did is, as a team, we designed different posters, and the zones is split up into 4 different colors. And these are categorized by your emotions and also your level of alertness. You've got a blue zone. Dr. Clark, this is the one that we made for you. We also have another one. So if you're in the blue zone, you might be sad, you might be sick, you might be bored, you're moving slowly. That's not good for teachers. We don't need students in the blue zone. Moving along, we have the green zone. That means you're happy, you're calm, feeling okay, focused, ready to learn. That's what teachers need. Yellow zone, you might be frustrated, worried, silly, wiggly, excited, loss of some control. You've got a heightened sense of awareness. That's not good. We need you to bring it down. And then if you're in the red zone, you're having some really strong emotions. You could be mad, angry, you could be mean, terrified, out of control. So the idea here is that we're teaching students to notice their emotions, and then not only that, but we're teaching them strategies and tools to get themselves back to the green zone. This is a lifelong skill that pertains to not only school, but the workplace. To give you an example, just the other day, a former student came in, and he just looked so tired. And I went up to him and I was like, hey man, which zone do you think you're in? And I have a lanyard. We all have lanyards at the elementary school with the 4 colors, and I just showed him. He pointed to the blue zone, and I was like, hey, do you think you should do some wall push-ups or the sensory path? I'll explain what the sensory path is later. He's like, let's do some wall push-ups. I did them with him. Did them, we were rocking it out, and he was looking at me like, Miss Marina, are we about to stop? Because he was starting to sweat. And I was like, no, let's do some wall squats. We did wall squats together, and he started looking at me. I could tell his brain was starting to fire. He was ready to learn, he was ready to go into his archer's class. So I intervened by using just that simple strategy. By doing this, we're reducing the amount of instructional time that is lost due to behaviors, and we're also increasing engagement. Engagement is essential for learning. And then a favorite quote comes from Donna Black: when emotions are churning, no one is learning. We know that. So a second strategy that we use in the primary school and the elementary school is what we call sensory paths. All it is stickers on the floor, and students do a series of jumps and moves to get themselves back into the green zone. This not only helps with their emotions, but it helps with executive functioning, or what we call EF. EF is essential for learning. These are the skills such as impulse control. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Emotional control. Flexible thinking. I'm not ready to move on, but I know my teacher said I need to, so I better move on. Working memory, bringing all that information back that you've already learned. Self-monitoring. Okay, my teacher said I got 5 minutes to do this. I'm only on number 1. I better pull it together. I got to go. Planning and prioritizing. Task initiation, and then organization. Okay, they told me I need to do this, but what items do I need to have? And then, not only that, but to give you an example, it allows students to get back to the green zone, because today, one of my students raised their hand. It's like, yeah, what you mean? He said, can I go do the sensory path? I was like, sure, go do the sensory path. He came back in, he was ready to learn. I didn't have to say, hey, you need to focus, or hey, you need to really get engaged with what I'm doing. He did that on his own. So this is a lifelong skill that we are teaching students. Another thing that we're doing is teaching breathing strategies. When students are getting into the yellow or red zone, it means that their brain is not able to learn. And so we're teaching things as simple as hand breathing. And all you do is you breathe in and you exhale. You breathe in and you exhale. There are different ones that you can use. There's star breathing, all these different ones. And the whole point is that you're putting more oxygen into your brain so so that you can calm down and make good choices. Another thing that we're doing for SEL is relationship mapping. Across the district, we're ensuring that each student has at least one adult champion that they can go to if needed. So what we've done, along with Ms. Sullivan, myself, and all of our PBIs and SEL coaches, because it takes all of us working together, we've created a database of every single student, and Mr. Robinson's wife, Sally Robinson, also had a huge part in this. So every student is listed, and then what we're going to do at each campus is we are putting adults next to each student that we have relationships with. So that if there's a situation where this kid, like, hey, I've got a problem with this kid, you can look at this database and you can be like, oh, Ms. Sullivan's got a relationship with him. Oh, this teacher has. I can go to them, and they can help me to help this student. So that no more of our students fall through the cracks. And then, lastly, but most importantly, we're focusing on adult SEL. We're focusing on our teachers and our staff. In order to I forgot something. In order for our children to get what they need, we also have to take care of our adults. In order to fill our teachers' buckets, we've had an increased focus on wellness and resilience, as well as strategies to reduce burnout, because it's a hard job. And so I leave you with this quote. When we elevate and take care of our teachers, we elevate and take care of our students and our communities. And that is what public education is all about. And that's from Sherry Bonder Goldman, the 2021-2022 Georgia Teacher of the Year. Thank you.
Don't you love their energy? So I hope you will see that actually the Georgia Department of Education recently just figured out what we already figured out, that when we put these two things together, we become more powerful. So they're working on merging the frameworks of these academic supports and these behavioral supports. Because when we do that together, then we support the whole child. We make classroom more engaging. We make learning an experience that children can remember. So at this time, we talk about, I'm just going to go back a little bit just to the process of MTSS, whether it be behavioral, academic. So you'll hear lots of things, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. And so what does that mean? Tier 1 is that piece, it's the framework and the foundation that every child should get. It's the piece that we want to be the fattest, the thickest, the most powerful structure, as if you were building a home. That's the one that we do in the classroom. Our instruction is strong. We know our students. We're using those coping skills. Our teachers know how to manage that. We understand when a child needs to do something to step out, whether it be behaviorally or academically. We know how to do that. We feel confident, and we've been focusing on that through our professional learning. We've done lots of things intentionally over the last 2 years, and we're going to continue that pathway. So Tier 2 kind of changes that a little bit. We use these things we call universal screeners, and those are things that every child in the school experiences. Could be for behaviors and for academic. It kind of gives us a baseline. We give it to all students, and then from that, we can help detect when there's something that's not quite right. And that's when we say, okay, what's not quite right, and what do we need to do in the classroom to make that better? And so that begins that Tier 2 process of using those interventions. We apply it, and it's kind of scripted. You do it so often with frequency, and you do it in a small group setting. And then Tier 3 takes that to the next level. Sometimes it's the same intervention, sometimes it's a different intervention. The frequency is increased, and sometimes the group size becomes reduced, or it could be one-on-one. And it's through that process, it's very fluid. And I will tell you, if you went, especially in our primary and elementary school, they're doing that every day. And it's a powerful, powerful system. It's changing our lives. Our students are becoming better readers. We're becoming better at math. And we all know that if you can read, literacy change legacy. So I'll take just a few minutes, and Ms. Sullivan can come and just talk through. There's 5 little steps, and then we'll kind of conclude this.
So just a little bit more about this structure as far as our district is concerned with MTSS, PBIS, and SEL. The first thing we focus on is our teaming. So So we have a district PBIS SEL coordinator. We also have Ms. Williver, who is a district NTSS coordinator. We have Jessie Boone, who's our SEL lead. And then we have PBIS SEL teams at each school that are led by PBIS SEL coaches. And we are actually merging those teams with our NTSS teams because, as Lisa said, we need to focus on the whole child. If we're meeting based on concerns or we're seeing needs in the classroom, we need to look and see if it's an academic need, if it's a behavioral need. Is there an attendance issue? What does that student need to be successful, regardless of what part of that umbrella it falls under? The next thing that we're looking at is our Tier 1 instruction. Again, every student in our system deserves amazing, qualified teachers who are going to give them all the tools that they need to be successful. So we're making sure that they're getting that in every classroom in our district. Next, we're looking at acknowledgement systems. So we're celebrating our students' academic and behavioral achievements. You'll see some of that tonight as we recognize our students. We have MVPs, we have Students of the Month, we have kind crews at our primary and elementary schools. We also have pep rallies, we have behavior celebrations, math masters in the upper levels where we're celebrating their academic growth. And then lastly, we have honors nights and learning celebrations. Again, we're still celebrating our whole child. If we have an honors night, we're also giving awards for their character, for their behavior. Again, just recognizing every student for all of their efforts. Next, we have Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. As Ms. Williver said, these are the additional supports for those students who just need a little more help. They'll get increased feedback, they may get a mentor, they may get extra instruction in a small group setting, and it's tailored to their individual needs to help them be successful. And our goal is that they get those additional supports, and eventually they don't need that anymore. They phase back into the classroom, and they're pulling in the next kiddo that may need additional support for that skill. And then lastly, we're looking at the continuous improvement process. So we have staff, we have community surveys, we have surveys for PBIS that are delivered from the state level, where we can look at the fidelity of our implementation. Are we making a difference? Are we doing what we're saying we're doing? What does our staff feel about our implementation? What additional supports do they need? Reaching out to our parents through Title I surveys. We're looking at the data from the Go MTSS platform to see if our students are phasing out of those Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions, and just making sure that what we're doing is working.
So as we conclude, I'd just like to talk through our next steps. In January, actually on January the 2nd, the three teams met together. It was the first that we had done this. We had a lunch and we just talked through vertically and horizontally what we were doing in each of our schools, as well as what we need to do across the district to meet the needs of all of our students. We had a team that attended the STAGE conference, which focuses on these practices for the MTSS system on the 11th. And then we have an audit at our middle school and high school to see the areas of growth, the things that we're doing well, and the areas that we need to improve in on February the 9th. John Maxwell says, he's one of my favorite authors, and he says, everything rises and falls on leadership. So, we thank you as a board for your continued support for providing for the superintendent that focuses a vision that keeps the main thing the main thing. This is an intentional process that requires the commitment of so many staff. And so I really wanted to include all the staff members of these teams. And as you can see, they are counselors, psychologists, teachers, administrators. They do many other things. And on top of that, they dedicate time to become experts in the fields of MTSS, PBIS, and SEL. And that is to provide an excellent and equitable educational experience for all of our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies. We really appreciate your willingness to come and share your excitement about these programs and to update our families about the ways that we've been able to improve through these programs. And families, we really need to thank you too, because we have the best behaved students in the entire state, and that's because you do such a great job of raising them and sending them to school expecting that they're going to be great citizens and work together and be great learners. So we appreciate your help and support too, and I hope that helped to explain some of the acronyms that we use so often. But if you have additional questions or concerns about those, Please make sure that you start with the principal at the school, and we'll be happy to give you additional information and examples about those. So thank you, ladies. I appreciate your leadership in this.
Yes, thank you very much, and I know that so many people thankful we have such caring, loving staff that just love on our communities, or even see as a school board. It's crazy. Next, we have Dr. Brewer for superintendent comments.
I'm excited to have an opportunity to talk about our star student and our star teacher. This week, the high school announced their star student, Kellen Joyner. And the star student is the senior with the highest SAT score, who also meets the top 10 requirement based on their cumulative high school grades from 9th through 11th grade. The star student each year has the opportunity to select the star teacher for having made the most significant contribution to the star student's scholastic development. And Kellen chose Ms. Tamara Soto as his star teacher who had the most influence on his high school journey. And Ms. Soto teaches our French classes at the high school level. Kellen and Ms. Soto will participate in a celebration next month along with the other Walton County star students and star teachers that will be held at their annual Star Banquet, which is hosted by the Walton County Chamber of Commerce. We are very proud of both of these folks. And next, I wanted to provide a brief update regarding the progress that we've made. We've passed the 60-day point of my opportunity to work here as the superintendent, and prior to me taking this position, I provided the board and the community with detailed commitments that we would work towards in improvement areas. And we have, I will not read all of those words to you or the examples, but during the 60 days, one of the things that we've done is to spend a lot of time in making sure that we're meeting with parents and with community members and civic leaders. There are lots of examples there, participating in school councils. We have also spent time, me and my team at the central office, assessing the effectiveness of our professional development. That's our opportunity to work with teachers and help them to be better teachers and to have more creative ways that they can help students who might be struggling. We've also spent time looking at our curriculum planning process and making sure that those interventions, the MTSS and the PBIS interventions that our student might need, that our teachers have access to those and actually feel really comfortable using them. Carrie, would you mind scrolling to the next section? Would you mind scrolling down? Thank you. So we have lots of examples there. Also, we've been working on reviewing the communication and the decision-making processes that we utilize at the central office, and we've made some significant changes there in order to make our processes more relevant and effective and convenient for everyone. We have spent time working on the property acquisition process as we work towards building a new combined elementary and primary school site, and we have a list of activities there. So we've been pretty busy, and we're looking forward to all of the work we're going to be able to get taken care of in the next 30 days, and we'll provide an additional update at that point.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. Next on our agenda, we have public participation, and we don't have anyone to speak tonight, so we'll move right along to one of our favorite sections, which is the special recognition section. I'll turn this piece over to Dr. Brewer as well.
So we're really excited to have the opportunity for Ms. Darlene Favors to come up and help us to understand all of the great choices that Carly Moody makes as a student in our primary school.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to let you know that there is a star among us from the primary school by the name of Carly Moody. I would like to take this time to recognize Carly and to share with you why she was chosen to be the star student for the primary school. Carly has been a part of our school family since pre-K, and she has been MVP Most Valuable Player for her class each year. And so I am just so proud of this young lady, and I would like to share with you this evening on why she was chosen to be star student. Carly was in Miss Simpson's pre-K class, and this is what Miss Simpson said about Carly. Carly is a star. She is a shining example of what it means to be a star at SCPS. She is always following classroom rules, being kind to her friends and teachers, and works very hard on classwork. We are so proud to get to spend our days with her. Way to go, Carly. Miss Russell was her kindergarten teacher, and this is what Miss Russell said when she was MVP for her class. Carly is an outstanding helper and role model. She is inquisitive and determined, and a determined learner. She displays a positive attitude, and she never gives up. I am so proud of you, Carly. Miss Strickland was Carly's first grade teacher, and this is what she had to say about Carly. Carly consistently treats others with kindness and understanding. She uses supportive, positive, kind words when speaking with her peers and teachers. She is a model student who displays honesty, follows directions, takes care of materials, and maintains a safe body around others. Congratulations, Carly. And lastly, Carly is currently in Miss Atha's second grade class. And Carly is also a gifted student. She participated in Discovery with Mrs. Johnson. This is what Miss Atha said about Carly. Carly is a problem solver and uses this strategy to empathize with her peers. She is quick to recognize others' feelings and lends an ear, hand, or her time to help get them through their feelings. I have seen her stand up for her peers, include her peers when she feels that they are left out, cheer on her peers to encourage them, and other times just listen. Carly is a great friend to have and makes our room a brighter place. Keep on shining, Carly. At this time, please help me to show how proud we are of Carly at this time. So Carly, if you will please come forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Favors. And next, we get to hear from Dr. Maria Hargrove, who's going to share some great news from our elementary school.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? I feel like I should give you a quiz over all the acronyms you've heard tonight. MTSS, SEL, PBIS. Well, anyways, it is my honor and it is my privilege to have an opportunity to recognize a third grader at the elementary school. And it's always fun to call the third graders in my office because they don't know if they're in trouble or not. So when he comes in, he's grinning because he knows he hasn't done anything wrong. But I said, Josiah, let me tell you some good news. I said, we've selected you to be the Social Circle Elementary School Student of the Month. I got that at the primary school. And I said, no wonder you were selected, because as he's walking the halls of Social Circle Elementary School, he is impressing a lot of people with just the 90 days that he's been there so far. Actually 96 now. All right, so I'm going to say a few kind words, Josiah, and I'm going to start by sharing some words from Miss Landis. I have taught Josiah for several years. His kind smile and gentle spirit is always a constant. Josiah has a growth mindset and positive attitude that will get him far in life. Bravo, Josiah. And that was from Miss Landis. And then I'm going to share some comments from his homeroom teacher, Miss Bruce. This year, we have the privilege of Josiah joining our school and our class family. Josiah has embraced all the attributes of a true champ in perfect SEES style. Josiah is an enthusiastic learner who seems to truly enjoy school and what he's learning. He asks great, thought-provoking questions and has amazing ideas to add to our classroom conversations. Josiah is a role model and a leader to his peers. We can always count on Josiah to be cooperative with others and set a high example for others to strive to achieve. He is kind, creative, and always looking to improve himself. SCES is a better place because of students like Josiah. At this time, will y'all help me congratulate Josiah Pope. Come forward, Josiah, and receive your certificate.
Thank you, Dr. Hargrove. And next, we will hear from Dr. Ryan Carter, who's going to share some great news from our middle school.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the Social Circle Middle School Student of the Month. And SCMS has selected Miller Gable as our Student of the Month. Miller, you have been selected as an outstanding student for so many reasons. Not only do you excel in all academic classes, but you also excel in everything that you do. You are a fabulous leader to your peers. You go out of your way to help others in need. You are an outstanding example of what it means to be a Social Circle Redskin. We are so proud of everything that you have accomplished this year, and we look forward to seeing what you have in store for the rest of this school year and the rest of your life. Miller, if you can come forward and if you can help me celebrate Miller Gable as our Star Student of the Month. And also at this time, I'd like to recognize some students who recently earned some awards at a competition. And so this school year, all students at Social Circle Middle School had the opportunity to participate in our science fair. And during this time, it really exposed students to these 21st century skills such as creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and they did a great job with all of their experiments through trial and error, and got to really experiment with the scientific method. And so grade level winners for each grade went on to our RESA competition. And so at this time, on behalf of Social Circle Middle School, we're going to congratulate the following students for earning a medal at the 2023 Northeast Georgia Regional Science and Engineering Fair. So when I call your name, if you can please come forward, and then following your recognition, Mr. Diaz is going to have a few short words with you. So in 8th grade, Luke Scrobot earning a gold medal. In 7th grade, Brent Musoro earning a bronze medal. And in 6th grade, Bennett Joyner earning a silver medal. All right, thank you. If you could please stay standing up here for Mr. Diaz. But before Mr. Diaz makes his speech too, I just want to give a special recognition to Mr. Diaz, Ms. Bennett, and Mr. Aquino, who are here tonight, our science teachers supporting our students, as well as to all of the science teachers who helped make our science fair a big success at the middle school. So students and teachers, thank you, and Mr. Diaz.
I just wanted to say a few words about our gold medalist from 8th grade, Luke. Luke's standard for himself as a student is just excellence. You can ask anyone around him in any class, you can ask any teacher that's ever taught him, and that's his standard. He met that standard at Regent and really made us proud. It was a good opportunity to see all the other schools in our region at this competition and see that as we develop our science fair and as we move forward, that we're not that far off from everyone else right now. And that shows with these 3 students right here that we're very successful in that competition. So thank you, and let's recognize them one more time.
Students and staff, thank you so much for your hard work with the science fair, and parents too. We know that's a contribution that lots of parents get to participate in, and it's such a great opportunity for students to stretch and think about future job opportunities. We're really fortunate to be living in a time when there are going to be so many science-based opportunities for careers. Teachers, thank you so much for leading that. We appreciate it. And next, we have Mr. Tim Armstrong, who's going to celebrate 2 of his students from the
Good evening. This first young man, the word I'm going to use is perseverance. I was speaking with his mom tonight. He was going to be our student of the month a couple of months ago, and they were out of town and couldn't make it back. Last month he wasn't feeling well and went home, and so it's my privilege to be able to celebrate a wonderful young man. And we'll start with a few sentences, a few comments from his teachers. One of his teachers simply said, "What a great choice, what a great kid." Another one said, "Such a good student, very respectful, always a delight to teach. I wish I had a class full of them." Another one said, "He's such an outstanding young man who's always courteous, always has a kind word for others, and is always extraordinarily respectful. He works diligently every day in class when he doesn't understand something. He's not afraid to ask for help or clarification. But he's not only a good student, he's an excellent athlete. He exemplifies the idea of a student athlete, in that his studies come first, but he's also a beast on the football field and the basketball court. Earlier this year, he hurt his shoulder in a game, and he continued to come to practice every day to encourage his teammates, even though he couldn't participate. He worked hard to get his shoulder back in shape and stronger so he could be back in the field to help us win a second place in the region and host a playoff football game earlier this year. He's truly a social circle Redskin through and through." Another one said, "He's such a hard worker with everything he does. I've had the opportunity to work with this young man in basketball and track and field for 3 years. He is that guy that will ask questions, go above and beyond, not only to make himself better, but the team. Congratulations." And the last one said, he's done such an incredible job leading our team this year as a senior captain. He works extremely hard in the classroom, the weight room, and on the field and court, and the track, and everywhere else. His coaches and teammates have nothing but love and respect. So please join me in celebrating Mr. Deshaun Hyman. That's your fan club over there.
My name is Deshaun Hyman, and I'm a 12th grader here at Social Circle. I'm currently taking economics, forensic science, and culture, and my favorite pre-cal. I'm planning to major in data science or statistics next year in college, and one of the most things I love about Social Circle is that it's a small community where everyone comes together to support one another. Earlier this fall, we hosted a home playoff football game, and the crowd support was amazing. This support continued to our home basketball game this year. Come out Saturday to watch us take on Eastside. Next week we'll be in our region schedule and march to the playoffs. As y'all plan to attend college, and I would like to play sports, for either basketball or football. I would like to say a big thanks to my parents who keep me on the right path and always support me. Thank you.
privilege to get to speak about another young man that I get to see every day. This young man, one of his teachers said, this young man has been one of my most reliable students in 2 different math courses he took with me. He was consistent about making sure his work was complete and accurate. If he had any questions about a topic or a specific problem, he made sure to ask about it. When review time came along for the unit, I could always count on him to be honest in telling me what he knew and what he needed help with. In terms of leadership, he was always a group leader, and where he would help his teammates out as they worked on assignments. Another one of his teachers said, this young man is always very respectful, polite, and diligent. One of his coaches said he's a leader on and off the mat. He leads his teammates in a positive way with his words, his actions, and his work ethic. He not only leads in athletics, like wrestling, but also with his academics. For the wrestling team, he has received the Coach's Award in wrestling every year since his freshman year. He's a multi-time state placer, and last year was an individual wrestling state champion. Another one said, he is such an awesome welder. The next one said, he's the quintessential student athlete. He's kind, he's courteous. He exudes a demanding level of leadership in and out of the classroom. As an up-and-coming leader that will mold the future generations of our great nation, he will hone his professional skills at the Citadel. And the last one just gave me a list. He said this was a 4-year cadet in JRTC, a 2-year battalion commander who led the JRTC to a score of 98.8 out of 100 during their JPA accreditation last February. He's a 3-year Raider captain and was captain of the 2022 state champions and a wrestling state champion. He's a 4-year ROT scholarship winner headed to the Citadel. So please help me recognize Mr. Lance Thacker.
Good evening, Superintendent Brewer and the Assistant Board of Education. My name is Lance Thacker, as you've heard, and I'm a senior here at Social Circle. One of my favorite things about Social Circle is definitely the small environment, because we all know how big our town is. Now I feel like I know everybody here. I've talked to some people from other high schools, they don't know everybody, but I feel like I know everybody here. Next year I do plan on attending the Citadel and majoring in political science. And I would like to say that I'm very thankful for all that this high school has done for me through academics, wrestling, ROTC. And speaking of wrestling, actually tomorrow we are trying to try on to compete for our state championship at duels. So that's very important to me. And to finish it up, I would say thank you to my parents. They've definitely instilled everything into me and have gotten this far.
Thank you, Deshaun and Lance, for giving us those kind words and for encouraging us to continue with the great work that we're doing. And thank you, Mr. Armstrong, for your leadership at the high school. Your work and the work of your staff is making a difference in students' lives.
And thank you to all the support that students give. Students, thanks for taking advantage of the support we get. It means a lot. Very rewarding to see all these accomplishments, and I'm just in awe of what you've been able to do. So keep it up. Next, we have the break on our agenda, and we'll take a 3-minute break. Just know that before you leave, that if you need to leave, you're welcome to stay for the business part. But you are always welcome here. And we appreciate the support that you offer the school system. And don't be a stranger. So we'll take a 3-minute break. Okay, we're back from the break. And we'll go straight back to our agenda. Next up is our finance section, and I'll turn this over to our CFO, Mr. Coates.
Tonight presented is the November 2022 financial report. With 42% of the fiscal year complete, we have received 30% of the general fund budgeted revenues, and we've spent 45% of general fund budgeted expenditures. A review of revenue shows local tax is at 10%. We'll begin to receive this in December and January, and I will let you know we've already received about 3.5 million, so we're on the right track there. State sources is at 29%. We're just starting to expend some of our state awards. Expenditures were at 69% in other support services. This is due to some expenditures we had to pay at the beginning of the year for the full school year. Currently, expenditures receive revenue by a little over 2.9 million, and this will even out in December and January. Expenditure encumbrances for the general fund total 156,000. Next, we have our special revenue funds. Total awards currently are at $4 million, and expenditures related to federal awards in October was about $133,000. Expenditures for the special revenue funds total $206,000. Next, we have our school food service fund. We're at 43% of budgeted revenues and 48% of budgeted expenditures. In November, we served 27,825 meals. Encumbrances for school food service totaled $1,900. And lastly, we have our SPLOST fund. SPLOST collections received in November for October collections were $210,000 from Walton County. This is a 22% increase. And $2,800 from Newton County. This is a 19% increase. Encumbrances for the SPLOST fund total $183,000. Are there any questions about the November report?
Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the financial report for November as presented by Ms. Cross? So moved. Have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say aye. Carries unanimously. The November financial report is approved.
Next, we have our update on Freshway Change for Schools. November collections total $2,324.57. This was allocated to each school for social studies and literacy. This brings the total program date to collections are a little over $131,000. And next, for your information, the FY24 budget calendar has been shared with each of you. This is all tentative dates. Most of the dates fall before a board meeting, but these are subject to change. Carrie has sent out a calendar invite to each of you, so you'll have that information. Are there any questions about this budget calendar?
That's not something we need to vote on, is it?
No, just it's for your information.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Cross. Okay, next we have district reports, and I'll turn this section over to Dr. Brewer.
Thank you, Chair. For legislative priorities, this is an activity that we participate in each and every year. I'm sorry, my microphone's on. But thank you for helping me with those. Each year, we work to create a list of legislative priorities that we then use as we're interacting with our local and state legislators to help to call attention to priorities that we want to make sure that they're aware of when they're making choices and educational decisions. So the areas that we've identified for this year include topics relating to enhancing student and school safety. One thing that we would like to make everyone aware of is that in the funds that we receive from the state, as far as our QBE funding, we actually don't receive funding for safety and security. There are grants that are available that we take advantage of, but that's something that we find that our legislators are a bit surprised by. There's some conversation from the governor regarding hopefully making some changes in this year's budget that should be able to help us in that area as we strive to make sure that our schools are safe. We also reference several items related to local control. Our board really values, as well as our community, the opportunity for us to make the best decisions for our students. And the best way for us to do that is to be able to make as many decisions as possible on a local basis. We also have some requests that are at the top of this document related to school transportation and facilities. Transportation and facilities are tremendously underfunded from the state level, and so we are hopeful and optimistic in the governor's new budget that there will be increased revenues that will receive related specifically to transportation and school facilities. We have several items related to qualified teacher and leader recruitment and retention. We are very fortunate here in the Social Circle City Schools that we have a happy environment with tremendously supportive parents and really well-behaved kids and great leaders. And so we do not experience many of the human resources stresses that other districts do, but we also want to make sure that our legislators are thinking about the things and the choices that they make that can actually help all of us to be able to do a better job of keeping our teachers. And then we have a couple of accountability items, talking about items related to figuring out how well schools and staff members are performing. And so we have mentioned that there are some ways that we could do this that we'd love for them to consider, as well as that the State Board of Education would like for our legislators to consider, that might be more truly accountable manners for being able to judge effectiveness. So board members, if you have any questions about those, we would look forward to speaking with you. Carrie Willis and I will be working on scheduling appointments with our local legislators so that we can talk about these topics.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. Next, we have new business and action items. And then we have, looks like, some trips to look at here. The first one being A, which is a trip that's already taken place. We did take a poll to approve that, but we have to formalize that vote tonight. So I have a motion to approve the overnight trip to Vestavia Hills, Alabama, that was taken December 27th through 29th by the rest of the team. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. On B, we heard one of our students tonight from high school speak to this, but there's an overnight trip that we need to approve starting tomorrow through the 21st for the rest of the team. Do I have a motion to accept this request for an overnight field trip as recommended by our superintendent? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. That field trip is unanimously approved. Then we have another wrestling trip to the State Sectionals Commerce for February 10th through the 11th. I have a motion to approve this field trip as well. So moved. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Another overnight trip for the high school FFA program to Greenhand Jamboree and Success Conference, March 10th through the 11th. A motion to accept this overnight trip as recommended by our superintendent. I have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, under E here, we have to Rome, our track team, from the high school is asking to go to Rome May 10th through 13th overnight. I have a motion to accept this trip request. So moved. I have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. That trip is approved unanimously to Rome. Next action item is approval of buses and drivers for summer 4-H camp. Would you like to give us any color around that?
Yes, we are blessed to have a great partnership with 4-H, and several of the members of the 4-H team working out of Monroe. They work with schools across the county, our public and private schools, and allow students an opportunity to participate in camps over the summer. And for many years, they've utilized the buses from the Walton County schools, and they've noticed that our school buses have air conditioning. So they really love the opportunity over the summer to be able to take advantage of our buses, and because we appreciate that partnership that we have with them, we'd like to be able to offer that to them.
And I see they're reimbursing us for the cost of fuel and drivers.
Correct.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve buses and drivers for summer 4-H camp as presented by Dr. Brewer? Now have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, and then for school board meetings, we use Robert's Rule of Order. And every year we have to reapprove that if we're going to use them going forward. And I would say it's a modified version of Robert's Rules of Order. Strictly Robert's Rules of Order if you read them verbatim. And I have a motion to take the superintendent's recommendation that we continue using Robert's Rule of Order for board meetings for 2023. So, do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right. Next action items are recommendations for Title 1, 2, 6, 9, Title 504, and 88 programs. Any explanation needed here, Dr. Brewer?
So we do this annually, and these are just a process that we're required to do this on the federal government, and we have experts at the central office who provide tremendous leadership in these areas.
Okay, so I have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendations for Title 1, Title 2, Title 6, Title 9, Title 504, and 88 programs. I have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say aye. That motion carries unanimously. Aye now for those who keep track at home. Out of breath. So we also annually elect board attorney. And for many years, for a long time, we've used the same firm, Hartley Hawkins, and the superintendent is recommending that we continue to do so for the year 2023. I have a motion to accept this recommendation from our superintendent. So moved. I have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Another thing we have to do annually, and we do this in January annually, is to select a vice chair. Sabrina Sanford Flint has served in that role this past year. And so do I have a nomination for vice chair for the 2023 calendar year? I have a second. Nomination was for Sabrina. Second. All right. Do I have any other nominations? Hearing none, I have a motion to elect Sabrina as our board vice chair for the 23 calendar year. I have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Congratulations. Again, our vice chair. All right. The other one that we elect annually is a fiscal. I'm sorry. We have to pick a bank, a fiscal depository every year. And the superintendent is recommending that we go with the Bank and Social Circle, which is what we used last year and some years before. So I have a motion to accept the Bank and Social Circle as our fiscal depository for this calendar year. I have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Here's the one that I thought we would come to next, is the liaison, delegate, and alternate. That we have to also, in addition to the vice chair, select every year. And this person really just keeps us abreast of any legislative issues. So do I have a nomination for a liaison delegate who would represent us at school board meetings when the vote is required? Steve Trentham has been nominated. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any other nominations? All those in favor of Mr. Trentham, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Steve is our liaison delegate. Now we need an alternate. I have a nomination for an alternate. Okay, Steve, could you make a meeting?
I nominate Nico Jackson.
I have a second.
Second.
Any other nominations? All those those in favor of Rico Jackson as our alternate, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Congratulations, Rico, you were our alternate liaison delegate. That motion carries unanimously as well. All right. This next one is one that we landed on me. We should have voted on December, we didn't. And but we're voting on it tonight. And that is for the board meeting dates for the rest of the calendar year. We'd like to vote them on December so people know when to come in January. That kind of slipped past us. But that's okay. We've been told that we will make sure to capture that in future years in December. And I want to thank Sabrina for reminding us we didn't do it in December and making sure we did it tonight. So thank you, Sabrina. But you just have the dates before you. And these are the dates recommended by our superintendent for our board meetings. You'll notice that almost all of them are the second Thursday of each month. Of course, this month we canceled it and moved it back, but there are 2 other months you need to be aware of. One's in June, one's in October. There are other events that occur second Thursday that either keep the board or the superintendent away, and we'd like to have the best chance of having everybody attend. So we move those two to a third Thursday. So have a motion to accept this slate of meeting dates for calendar year 2023 for the Social Circle Board of Education.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, now we have a recommendation from our superintendent for architect. And as you're well aware, we are in desperate need of building a new elementary school, and we're on that path slowly but surely, making progress. But the superintendent tonight is recommending that we retain, I believe it is, the architect of Robertson. I call him RLR. So we'll just call him RLR, since I can't pronounce the other word here. As our architectural firm for 2023. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. And next one, did you have a comment on this one before we vote?
Yes. Thank you, Chairman Callahan.
Yes.
I want to thank all of the board members for considering our request on Friday of last week to look at the request for proposals for construction of the new elementary school. We were able to get that posted on the state procurement website as well as our website. And the great news is that we've had lots of construction companies that have demonstrated interest in the project, and they had several questions. So we have created an addendum to the RFP that you approved to help answer those questions. And so we will post the addendum tomorrow on the procurement site as well as on our website. And this will give increased opportunities for the companies to learn about our district and to be able to participate in a pre-submittal conference. So I think it's going to help us to be able to get even better candidates and more competitive bids.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation for the RFP proposal and the RFP addendum for our new elementary school and transportation? So moved. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. That motion carries unanimously. We have a motion to exit regular session and go into executive session to discuss personnel and real estate. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. We're going to executive session and we'll be back shortly for regular session. Do I have a motion to exit executive session and bring in a regular session? So moved. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, under the personnel recommendations from our superintendent, we have some classified recommendations. We have, we're going to take them on 2 slates. The first slate will be this one. Brittany Fears, Registrar Secretary for the middle school. I have a motion to approve this recommendation from our superintendent.
So moved.
Now a second.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those who abstain,
I abstain.
motion carries 4-0, one abstention for Brittany Fears. That motion is approved. We'll take the others. 3-0 with 1 abstention, I'm sorry. So that passes. Now we'll have our second slate, which will include these classified staff members, nominations from our superintendent, which are Novotny, Bankhead, Special Ed Parapro, Patricia Foster, bus driver substitute, Randy Pope, bus driver substitute, and Demeek Kemp, assistant track coach for the high school. Now a motion to accept those recommendations from our superintendent for classified staff.
So moved.
Now a second.
I second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Then we have a couple of recommendations for overnight chaperones. We have Melvin Murphy and Tiffany Young. I have a motion to accept these 2 recommendations from our superintendent.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Now, we have a substitutes list. It's been recommended by our superintendent. Jessica Osmond, Takara Sheets, Shalathia Swain, Sarah Westbrooks, and Catherine Young. I have a motion to accept these recommendations for substitute teachers from our superintendent.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Those nominations of the substitute teachers are approved. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.